Welcome to Squirrel, the podcast for distracted writers, hosted by Candace J. Thomas and Jody L. Milner.
Welcome, everybody, to Squirrel. I'm Candace.
And I'm Jody.
Okay, so today we are talking about adding a friend familiar.
Yay!
Yay! It's not just pets that we're talking about. Well, we were talking about animals because I'm, there's lots of baby animals. It's spring.
It's spring.
Things are happening. Babies are being born, I'm guessing. But yeah, I wanted to do about a friend familiar because of, I don't know, my D&D experience. Do you have much D&D experience?
Not nearly enough to say that I am very familiar with everything. I know how the mechanics work. That's about it.
That's too bad. We should get a game going because it's really fun. I remember I was a druid and I had this friend familiar. I think I just called him Wolfie. I'm not really sure, but he was a wolf. And I loved having that. So that's what I wanted to talk about, was adding like an animal to your character or to your story in order to enhance the character that you've got. So, Jody, what kind of friend familiar would you personnly want? Let's talk about that.
So this is directly related to my current writing project, but I want a tiny dragon. I want a pocket dragon. I want this little thing that is maybe the size of a rat that is a tiny dragon, and like it'll curl up in your pocket, and it would probably be a lot like a cat. Like it would act like a cat
and curl up. That's so cute.
But then you'd be feisty and set things on fire, possibly.
Like, have you watched Disenchanted?
Only tiny pieces.
Oh, yeah, because they have the cat who's the devil, actually.
Yeah.
I
think I watched like the first 3 episodes. I'm like, I'll come back to this.
But the Girl Who Drank the Moon has a little dragon
It does.
So, yeah.
He's a perfectly tiny dragon.
I think I would want a bear, honestly, because I've had a bear in another campaign.
Was it an owl bear?
I know. He was just a big brown bear. I don't remember, honestly. Who knows? But I think it would just be kind of fun to have a bear protector. I wrote that in one of my stories. I gave one of my characters a bear that would protect her, and that's it's just my personal want. I think I fulfilled through
That's
fiction.
A lot of animal, but sure.
Well, he's nice, and he'll get food for me, and he'll like snuggle up.
I have this vision of him carrying a tray with like tea and crumpets on it.
What?
I know, not
Possibly,
that kind of bear.
I would make him wear a bow tie. That's true. Yeah, let's do that. So, and maybe like an amusing hat. All of a sudden, he's Yogi Bear. Yeah. That's so funny. Thinking of bears, what are some animals that, because you put this in the notes, what are some livable sidekicks that you find in books?
Nice transition.
I know, it was, right? It's right there.
Okay, so there's the book series In His Dark Materials. The first one's Golden Compass. The main character has a familiar, and in Golden Compass, they call them daemons or demons. And they are true familiars because they do communicate with their host. I don't know if host is the right word. That makes them sound like a parasite.
No, but I remember reading this, and it was like their specific essence.
Yeah, and that one was like they were spiritually attuned to each other in a way that was very essential to the plot. But her familiar was Pan for Pan for short. And
That's a very big word.
And he usually looks like a little ermine, and he can choose what he is, and so he changes throughout the books, and then at the end he decides he wants to be a pine marten. And if you've ever seen a pine marten, they are the most adorable thing. They're like teeny tiny weasels, and they're really playful.
That sounds like my nightmare, honestly.
A little tiny weasel?
Oh, just a little rodent in some way.
Thus the bear. Easier to track.
Yeah, I know. Even though I'm not a fan of big animals.
You seem conflicted.
Well, come on. There's not a reality of me actually getting a bear. That would be something that I need protecting me if I needed it. That's all.
I just want something to curl up in my pockets.
Friends.
No,
I don't like little things. I don't like big things. We'll get to that. Honestly, I think everyone cried when Hedwig died. Hedwig was always a, integral thread in an important thread in the series, and because she was right there from the beginning. And this is something, Harry didn't know anything about magic. And so it was a big deal to have this friend. That was just, the owls in that world are little messengers. They don't really carry any kind of specific magic. So if I think about, I just read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. And that one, she has a dog who's actually a Grimm. But he looks like a dog, just a big dog. But as a Grimm, when he changes, when he needs to be something big to, find the Fae or fight the Fae, he becomes this enormous dog, that wolf creature, whatever, that helps protect her. So I really liked that one as well. So, oh my gosh. And can I just add, I'm sorry talking so much. John Scalzi is a starter villain. These are right on my brain. Starter villain has these cats that are super intelligent, and they run the government, and all the nefarious goings on are all done by cats.
Oh, cats rule the world. Absolutely.
It is so funny. And they're very intelligent, and they can communicate. And
I believe that over lizard people.
I love that. It was so much fun. It was such a fun part of that book. So, okay, I'll stop talking about that.
So a lot of times we'll put animals in books to help reveal stuff about the character. But the whole idea of don't kill the cat or pet the dog, what are we actually talking about when that comes up?
That is, cruelty to animals is very frowned on. Animals in general, dogs have this unconditional love for you. Completely loyal, and it's just very damaging to us watching it happen. I think we all learned a lesson from John Wick.
Don't mess with the dog.
Oh my gosh, did you see that puppy?
I did.
I mean, does it justify all of his actions? Maybe, because that dog was great casting there. That dog was the sweetest looking dog I'd ever seen in my whole life. So yeah, it's funny how in books you can have all this violence and people killing each other, but when it comes to harming an animal, we have feelings. It's just funny.
It's the same. I think we put animals and small children in the same area where it's forbidden. They're innocent. They've done nothing. They can't hurt you. So if you have a character that's strangely nice to animals, but he's really a dick to everyone else, he actually had, maybe they have a good heart in there somewhere, but they only can trust animals. But if you have another guy who's really nice to everyone, then comes home and kicks his dog,
we have
now you know that this character has got some secret darkness
about this character. That's true.
It's a way of revealing people's inner character. It's like if you put your shopping cart away at the store or not. No one's looking. Yeah. No one cares. But I mean, they do care.
But it tells a lot about your character.
It tells a lot about you.
If you put away your cart or not. Do you put away your cart?
I always put my cart away unless it's raining.
I always put my cart away. And I usually make a teenager do it, actually. But no, I never leave it.
Okay, even if it's raining, I put it away.
I know. I will. It'll eat at my conscience knowing that I didn't return that cart.
Well, and the only time I didn't was when I was trying to negotiate my dad, who was not really mobile at that point, and I'm like, I cannot.
Okay, I will grant you access there. Okay, we totally squirreled. Where did we go there?
Never.
Do you remember reading books when you were a kid that had some kind of sad, tragic thing that happened?
It's what was with the 70s and 80s anyway?
I know. Right?
Oh my gosh. There was a whole slew of really sad books. Okay. Old Yeller and Where the Red Fern Grows were my childhood staples. And I'm like, what?
And that was Where the Red Fern Grows, I think, was just traumatizing.
Well, it's
to me.
What was the point? Was it to traumatize kids about death? Or was it just to be this is a circle of life. Look, you can get over this.
I don't think that they really know. Yeah, I don't know if the 70s or 80s really considered children's feelings at that moment. We were raised on a lot of grit and latchkey, and they didn't really care about our generation much.
Well, and now it's like every time I see a dog on the front of anything, a book cover, a movie front, I'm like, oh, crap. That dog's going to die.
Like Marley and me. I'm like, what is this? Oh,
I know,
wait.
right?
Why
I mean,
am
the only
watching
one
this?
is when they do a reverse one with, I'm going to say it wrong. It's Hitachi. No, that's, there's one where the owner dies. And I should have put this in the notes. I will put it in the blog, maybe.
Okay. And yeah, but
Hachi.
yeah, I know
I think it's Hachi.
Yeah, it is. And he tries to
and
follow
he goes to the train station every single day after the owner dies because he's waiting for the owner to come home.
Still breaks my heart.
So that was a reverse killing the dog.
I remember Charlotte's Web. I mean, come on. What was that about? Why am I supposed to love Black Widow spiders? That's not really fair.
She was an orb weaver. Come on.
It doesn't matter. She was a spider, and it gave a humanity to us loving these spiders. This poor spider dies in order to have babies and whatever. It's just tragic. Jeez. I don't even know. We'll move on. I do remember Of Mice and Men. I remember reading that I think that was high school actually. But when Lenny has the puppy, I mean, I know it's a metaphor for what happens in the story and Lenny's specific condition, but I remember him just loving that puppy and stroking its fur, and even though the puppy is dead, oh my gosh, it's just sad. That was another thing that totally.
Why is our fuzzy animal episode turning into a very sad episode?
Okay, let's change. Let's move.
I want this to be cute and fuzzy again. Can we be cute and fuzzy again?
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about obstacles that there
Lucas
are.
The spider. No kidding.
Obstacles there are when you add animals to fiction. Can you think of anything?
Oh man, I think there is a lot of opportunity for getting things wrong. Unfortunately.
Absolutely.
So like if you're going to add a cat and you've never interacted with a cat, you're going to miss a lot of like how people and cats interact. Like you can watch a lot of videos about it and maybe get the idea of it, but it's different. It's like the same when you try to ride a horse. Like
true.
Write about horses. And so I think you do need to have some familiarity with the animal that you want to write about. At least have some sort of personal interaction with that particular animal first.
Yeah.
I think that would be critical.
Well, I think that there needs to be a point to your bringing in an animal, right?
Well, yeah. It can't just be there. I think it needs to have a purpose.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not, as I said before, I'm not an animal lover. Like, at all. Now, did you get a degree in veterinary science?
Yeah, I was a vet tech. I got a bachelor's in animal science.
Why?
Not because I'm an animal person. I love medical science, but I don't like people.
You like animals better than people?
I just think there are less barriers to entry there. That says a lot about me right there.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
But I got to interact with a lot of different kinds of animals. I got to learn how to handle big animals and small animals. I have scars to prove it.
I think that's one of the things that is most frightening. I got attacked by a cat when I was young, so I had a fear of cats for the longest time. I didn't get a cat in my life until, I want to say, I guess it's about 15 years, honestly, when we got our first cat. But he was declawed. He came declawed. So I didn't really have a fear. Now I have 2 cats. They both have serious claws, but I'm not afraid. I don't care if they scratch me. I'm totally okay with this.
Yeah, I've seen your war wounds.
Yeah,
when you had a new cat.
Because I like to play. I like to play with my cats. But I mean, I had a big fear, and I had horses. When we lived in the country when I was really young, I had horses nibble on my hair because it's so straw-like, and they're like, "Oh yeah, what's this?" And I was running away, and this horse was trotting after me. I've had a fear of horses my entire life. I still do. I won't ride them. I don't like big animals.
So I like horses. I mean, I don't think I'd ever get one because holy cow, responsibility and expense.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're extremely intelligent.
Yes.
And you got to treat them like that. They're not just Okay, fantasy writers out there, horses are not cars. You cannot treat your horse like a car. You cannot just park it in the garage and leave for the night and be fine with it.
I do have horses. I have 2 horses in my fantasy series. And I had to go to a friend of mine who raises horses just to talk to her about it because I knew I needed transportation. So I needed to know how these horses would be, how they would interact with people, what you needed to do, how they sleep, how they eat, how long they have to rest. These type of things needed to, play into the journey part. So it was really kind of eye-opening for that. So yeah, talk to people who know stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to mention, this was an experience I had when I was in Gibraltar. So I was at the Rock of Gibraltar. They have these specific monkeys. The monkeys rule that rock, and they're really funny. And they told us to not reach in our bag at all because they know that what's in the bag is food. And so they told us not to do that. But I reached in to get some chapstick, and there was this monkey. This monkey had my name, and he came after me. And I was terrified by these tiny little monkeys. But he wanted that chapstick. And then other monkeys knew I had chapstick. And so I had this herd of monkeys coming after me.
And this is why we follow the rules, kids.
It's so funny. So terrifying. Yeah, honestly, don't reach into your purse or bag or anything when you're at Gibraltar. Anybody's going to be at the Rock of Gibraltar at any time soon. But if you know, just be aware. Okay. That was kind of a tangent. I'm sorry. Do you have any kind of resource that you go to for animals or friend familiars? What do you think?
So resources, if I choose to write one, usually it's an animal I've already had experience with, and so I haven't had to seek out resources. But I think the first and easiest go-to would at least be watching as many videos as you can that are about that animal and that animal's interactions with people, try to get familiar that way. I mean, the step up would be actually being able to meet one in person and interact with it like that. I think that would be really cool.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But there's not going to be here's your guidebook, here's your textbook on how to write working with animals. Yeah. Do I have a book in my collection? Is the care and handling of wild and domestic animals? And restraint. I have one that has restraint of wild and domestic animals. I have a textbook on it.
That's amazing.
It's still on my shelf.
That is good to
from
know.
My college years.
Just in case I
restraint and handling of wild animals.
Oh my gosh. I guess you are the go-to person.
Yeah.
If we need to restrain a wild animal. Oh
the first advice is don't.
This is really funny. I have used the D&D manual before on monsters and creatures and animals. That was when I was creating specific monsters. I guess that's a different episode, but I guess I haven't really written that many animals. Fairies are not really something you can resource. You just have to kind of create.
I wouldn't put fairies in the pets category anyway.
Or familiars. Yeah. Very good.
They feel like their own thing.
What's the difference then? What's a familiar versus pet?
I think a familiar is a pet with perks. They have to be more than just something that can hang out with you. They have to have some form of intelligence or some form of communication.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just a pet,
Yeah. Some kind of mental communication, not just a spiritual, where it's acting as an arm of you, right? You have that kind of communication. Is that what you're saying?
It's an extension of yourself a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I think... Well, yeah. I mean, it's the only thing I can think of too. Can you think of any friend familiars, not just pets, but the friend familiars from Disney shows?
Okay, Disney masters having their main characters have a pet, mainly because merchandising. But
well, yeah. Sorry. And no one wants to watch somebody just go through the whole movie without some cute
especially
thing.
Since all of their stories are about isolating and tormenting some young girl.
Probably.
That's like all of Disney's everything. So like Pascal from Untangled, the chameleon, like I love his attitude. He has got such a quirky, weird attitude, and I love it. I love Mushu from Mulan, but he feels more like a familiar.
Yes.
He's definitely more, because he talks to her and he does things for her benefit. Like he's definitely a familiar.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and he's talking. Like a lot of the other animals they're not talking animals. You know, I'm trying to think of others that.
I mean, Gus. I mean, all the mice talked.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but they didn't. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I'm trying to think. I liked Hey Hey. Was that Hey Hey?
Yeah, Hey Hey
From
the rooster.
Yeah,
that stupid rooster.
He was so funny.
He was a comic comic sidekick.
Yeah, but if I think about a familiar, I think of the crow or raven, whatever it was.
The one on Maleficent.
Yeah, had, because, you know, she said, please go find her, my pet, or something dumb like that. And he was obedient to everything, right? So I thought that there was probably some kind of connection between those two that I liked a lot. I like villains. So there's a sidekick with a villain, or a villain with a sidekick. That's what I mean. Then I kind of,
it's a whole new story idea.
Sidekick with a villain. But I mean, that sentence worked but it also can be put in different context. Anyway, okay. Any final thoughts?
I wanted you to talk about if you have any pets or familiars in your books.
Oh, right. Yeah. Like in the Viviteria series, I have a bear, lady with a bear. I gave protectors to a lot of the people that protect the stones. So they have their own little thing that they communicate with. Like Vespa has fairies. Farah has a big bear, right? Celexa has a wolf. I guess it's just all of my D&D days coming to fruition. But I have added those type. And because it's in a magical world, I mean, I gave them the same characteristics as what animals would be, but I gave them a magic to it as well, so that they could act as to protect their character for that. Yeah. How about you? Did you do something like that?
Well, I tried to do horses early on in the series, and I found that I did not enjoy trying to figure out how to get it right. And I did treat them like cars, I think, a little more than I probably should have. But I did give one of my side characters a pet crow. Technically, it was a raven. So Cassim has a raven named Onyx that he's rescued. He's one of our healer characters. Mm-hmm. And so through the third book, you see a lot of Onyx, because I wanted to finally have something fun and cute and light in there. So I added a goofy little raven.
Ravens are the ones that can use tools, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, both crows and ravens are very smart. Ravens are the bigger ones of the two. We have common ravens that live around my house.
Okay,
and they'll come. They're big birds, and they're very smart.
They scare off all of my starlings.
Oh yeah,
that live in my tree. I guess my final thoughts then. I think it's an interesting idea in order to enhance your character, because it really does tell something about your character, how they act and how they respond to using a friend familiar. And I think it deepens the compassion of the character as well. Just like, as you said, that people act differently around their pets, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm schmoopy when it comes to my kitties, and I'm like, I just want to rough them up and be so cute. So it says something about your character if you act like that, How about you?
So my final thought is that most stories that have any sort of animal friend, whether it be a pet or familiar, they're doing it for a very specific reason. And either it's to bring out the innermost, not attitudes, but like the way your character is on the inside, versus the outside. Like it kind of lets your character express something different and have somebody to talk to if they need to have like an internal dialogue. Like having the pet there means they can have that doesn't feel as weird and in the head as sometimes it ends up being. Yeah. If you ever have a page of a character's like internal dialogue for forever, like sometimes you're like.
So would you put Chewbacca as a friend familiar?
He's his own species. He's his own sentient race, so no. Although Han does treat him like a familiar.
Very good. Okay, cool.
So don't kill the pets. Please don't kill the pets.
Yeah,
don't. I can't take it.
Fun. It can just be a fun activity to, I don't know, add it to your character, your story, or whatever. So cool. All right. Thanks, Jody, for this.
All right. That's it for today. Next week is April Fool's. Our episode falls right on April Fool's Day. And so
oh my gosh.
We're going to explore character mishaps, humor, and pranks. It's going to be a wild ride. So don't miss it. If you liked anything you heard today, we have a Patreon. We have a buy us a coffee. You could buy us a boba. I don't think it's virtual and
doesn't really,
we'll appreciate it no matter what it is.
You won't actually know what we buy, but there we go. Cool.
No matter where you're listening, make sure to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Anyway, this has been fun. Thanks, Candy.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Squirrel Podcast for the Distracted Writer with Candace J. Thomas and Jody L. Milner. Please like and subscribe to our podcast for updates and new episodes, and find more information at our website, squirrelpodcast.com. Stay distracted, everyone.
Shoot, how do we start?
It's just a hi, everyone. My name's Jody.
Oh, yeah.
That's all it is.
We keep it easy.
Welcome to This and That.